Hi, this is Lisa from Monarch Butterfly Land Saving Society. This is a message for people in the Asian area. I'm dealing now with people, two families in Nepal. And I have been doing a lot of research in the last year on the deserts and how they're hurting the earth and how it's hard to feed and provide clean and pure water in a desert environment due to the fact that there is no animals to procreate. The desert, the soil is barren, nothing grows, the winds are horrifyingly strong because there's no trees to block the wind. The sand is hot. There's no rain, nothing grows, and it's just become, those places are unbearable. One place that it suffers a lot are, Asia, for example, has many places that are suffering from deserts. There's a Thar desert in India and the Gobi Desert in China, and I don't really know all of them, but I know there's serious problems in Asia. The rubber tree plantations that were put up in China to help earn a good economy have been very detrimental to the traditional rainforest areas, which were temperate rainforests in China. Instead, the rubber tree plantations, which normally a rubber tree grows about 10 or 20 degrees south of the area in China where they're now growing, and it's bringing a more tropical rainforest type environment into China, as opposed to what would be normal for that landscape if the rubber trees were down around the equator, where there was much more water and moisture. The rubber trees need lots and lots of water, and they're sucking up so much water in China because they're used to being in the equatorial area where there is so much more water that they're taking water as if they're in their normal location, but they're actually about 10 or 20 degrees north of their normal location in China, and they're sucking up too much water for the environment or ecosystem in China. So because of that huge number of rubber trees in China, the whole environment has changed. It's become too wet, and I believe that's the reason for the monsoons. And then when the rubber trees need so much water, they're sucking water from places that the water cannot really be found. They need to be down by the equator where they're from. They were taken from the Amazon basin, which is near the equator, and they're used to being able to take lots of water. Parts of Asia are drying out because the rubber trees or roots they're a huge tree. Their roots grow so far and so long, they take a lot of moisture out of the ground in the wrong area, and the temperate rainforests that are more indigenous to Asia are drying out, and the rubber tree forests are too humid, and they are causing, I think, the monsoon situation that you see in the hurricane, possibly. I don't know enough about all that. Some good climate person would be well put to study why moving the rubber trees north from where they're normally indigenous to China has very much hurt the earth. I feel that there are deserts growing because of the rubber trees, because they're sucking so much water away from a temperate area when they really need a much more humid area. Also, a monoculture of trees, which the rubber trees are, creates a lack of biodiversity, whereas a temperate rainforest, which was much more typical of Asia, housed many, many species of flowers and plants and trees and bushes and fruits and nuts and all kinds of growth, and of course many, many types of animals. Everything grows together in a varied environment of biodiversity. When you put just rubber trees there, the animals that can't really live in that environment or need a different type of plant or flower or tree will die. So many animals in China or Asia are dying because of these rubber trees. They are indigenous to the Amazon basin, and that type of wildlife would then procreate there, but it's wrong for that part of the earth. and it's changing the nature of the earth. The animals that need to come back to the Asian area would be more the temperate rainforest type animals. The reason I talk about all this is because I think the government in China has to consider maybe doing something to change this. If they can move rubber trees from the Amazon basin and place them in the wrong place, I don't really know how that's possible. I read that that's what they did. I guess they took the seeds or whatever and they cultivated it, I would obviously expect someone to look into it deeply. I've done so much research. I'm not completely sure where I read it, but I'm sure I did. I would advise that they take them out and try and let the natural earth take over and see what the environment will do by just stimulating the pollinators that are left, the birds, the bees, and the gophers and the flowers, and the things that are left, and let them leave to their own devices by just nourishing what's there when you remove some of those rubber trees. Another thing I wanted to say about Asia is they have the Himalaya mountains that come down, and they have that's where a lot of water comes from the mountains down, from the high altitudes, very nice pure water. And then when they come down into a desert area in many places, and then there's a bad situation because there's no vegetation to deal with the water. The roots are necessary to suck the water in. The land cannot just accept water. The roots are like our waterways. It's important to try and plant something, I would think, on the edges of the mountains, and my idea was apple trees, because I feel that they're a cool tree and can grow in a cold environment, and where the mountains come down to the desert, there are little valleys and inlets, and for some reason, I feel certain that planting apple trees on the bottom of where the Himalayas come down into desert areas would be something that might be tried. Apple trees, and they would develop a root system which would then suck up water and not let the water flood or hurt the land in the desert, which really can't handle so much water because there's nothing to hold on to it. Plus the desert winds throw the sand around and hurt people, hurt machinery, cause lung problems, cause diseases. If there are apple trees planted around the edges and they seem to do well, you can let them expand outward, and then more and more apple trees can grow out, and then a root system will develop, and the roots can handle the water. It'll stabilize the ground. The animals will start to develop. Insects will start first. Insects do develop from trees. From the insects, a lot of work begins. They begin sowing all sorts of things, cleansing the soil, helping decompose animals that have died, creating all kinds of new possibilities, new forms of life, and then from that, a lot is possible. The grass can grow, the seeds can be spread from the trees, the apples have seeds. There will be birds that might come to eat the little bit of seeds. There might be fruit for things that come down from the ground, and so forth. The animal population will take over, and all things can happen. That would be my advice, and that's what I have to say about Asia. I've been studying the deserts quite a lot for more than a year, and these are the things I think of. I hope it finds it helpful. I will post this to my friends in Nepal, and I hope you'll get this video out. For some reason, I have a computer stalker. I don't get my mail. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I am on LinkedIn. I have emails everywhere. I do not get my mail. I have a stalker. In America, we have stalkers sometimes, and they're identity thefts. So I can't be sure I'll get answers to these things I put out, and I would hope my friends in Nepal will take this video and spread the word so they can start thinking about, even at the government level or agricultural departments within Asia, can think about these ideas. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.